Hello there folks, this is a 1 versus 1, almost you could call it a grudge match I guess, between two members of the realm here. We've got Max in sort of dark bluey purple, well it was listed as blue, except the icons look slightly purple, or indigo I guess you could say. Going bot first with the lovely new Transformer Commander thing, who looks sort of like a Kid Delta if you will. And the other team, in red, we have Mr. UnworthySponge. I'm going to hit my caps lock on here so we can see their build orders. He's using the Raptor Commander, Air First Bot Second. Getting out a lovely Bot Fabber there for the first one, and a Hummingbird out for air, so that's going to be giving him some early scouting possibilities, and also air superiority against potential bomber harass. Max bringing out a few Grenaders early on, going up for an Air Factory second as well, and the Fabricator first planned to expand rapidly around the other side of the planet. So the idea of these Grenaders is that they act as Max's early expansion, not expansion, well, I guess you could say expansion in terms of determining safe areas, but also as aggressive scouts. And aggressive in that if they find the enemy, they could potentially get a pot shot off on a Fabber or two, because people typically go bot Fabbers early on, because you can then follow them up with combat Fabs, which provide you with masses of early game economy. Now looking at the spawns here, where the players are likely to expand, they're relatively alright if I'm honest. Max is probably going to expand, as we've already seen, with the Qs sort of more towards the north there, maybe a little bit to the west as well. I suspect as soon as he realises that UnworthySponge has spawned here, he might expand just a little bit down here and maybe make a staging post or a forward base. But a Firefly there from UnworthySponge detecting Max's Grenadiers. And now the base itself, enemy commander detected. This would UnworthySponge's martial voice pack be saying, and he's also here, Max, bringing out a combat fab. Very early combat fab indeed. What's he going to be doing? Assisting the factory perhaps? Or going off assisting the expansion. What we've got assisting the expansion at the moment are a couple of Stingers, good idea to take out any of the bomber harass. And there we are, Max has got the scout on UnworthySponge with Firefly as well. Hummingbird's not able to take that down before the scout gets off, so Max sees everything he needs to see. He sees the factories and he sees the expanding as well. So he sees the two Fabbers that are expanding. Max only expanding with one Fabber, however, so he's going to be a little bit slower on expanding, and he is spamming out the combat Fabs early into the game. Not the wisest of decisions, because of course the economy does tend to crumble with lots of early combat Fabs. Now the factory laying idle, however, interestingly enough, might start to produce a lot of Grenadiers there. Selecting the Fabber, probably getting the Grenadier to assist, not Grenadier, sorry, the combat Fab to assist the original. Probably getting up some energy and or extra factories. There we are, the vehicle factories being laid out in front, because of course he has got the scouts, so he knows exactly where his vehicles need to go. UnworthySponge doing the same, but without the combat Fab assist, so those factories are going to go a little bit slower than Max's factories would be. Although I'm not entirely sure what is building Max's factories actually. Is perhaps the commander queued it up? I'm not entirely sure. But we have the queue, but nothing going to build it at the moment. I think this Fabber might be doing it indeed, but because it has the combat Fab, it's going to be going up a lot faster. If we just look here, this factory is nearing completion. If we just bring up picture in picture, I believe that's the button there. Sorry, I have a massive box because of my recording software. You see, that factory isn't up, but this one is already completed. Glorious. Glorious, glorious. So now both of these players are going to be starting to produce a few units now as well. Ants rolling off. I call them ants even though they're called bolos, or just T1 tanks if you will. Rolling off for both players now as well, so which is always good. I'm always sort of attempting to do a little bit of both picture-in-picture and main screen, but we also now have Grenadiers coming out from Max over here, which is very nice indeed, so those might start to do a little bit more raiding. Now here, this is what I meant by securing sort of expansions. Grenadiers just sat here. A little bit of a dodgy use for Grenadiers. What you could do is maybe get a Firefly and just set it landing around here, and it should get a reasonable view of the majority of that. Again, not the wisest spot for a Grenadier here, only covering 2 mechs, especially considering he knows where UnworthySponge has spawned. He could be moving those Grenadiers over to where UnworthySponge is likely to expand. who is doing a very good job of expansion, actually. Very, very good job indeed. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my picture-in-picture back to here and swap over like that. So now we can see the vehicles sort of trundling across the map there from Max. Beginning to do the same over here. Max also getting out an air fabber, getting up a lot of expansion in the middle of the pond here. Very nice indeed, because it's not something that UnworthySponge is looking for or indeed expecting. Bumblebee's overhead, going to get shot down there instantly. A little bit of a waste. They could have taken out these tanks here and saved Max a little bit of health and trouble. But as it stands, he didn't lose too much in that engagement. Could lose one here though, as they get caught a little bit on that little bit of wreckage. Indeed, there's an exchange of blows. Still a pretty good trade. 2 for 1 and a bit. But of course Max does have the massively increased build power. Inferno's starting to roll off for UnworthySponge now. Max has yet to transition. But what Max is doing is getting up a rather large amount of air units here. They look like they're on an area patrol rather than an actual line patrol command. Not the wisest of choices, although it's a very convenient and quick and easy way to do things, especially if you are that way inclined. I'm going to close off the picture-in-picture here, as I find it might be a little bit easier just to do things on the whole. He has a lot of grenadiers here, which could really be moving around the side of the map and doing a lot of harass raiding on their own. But UnworthySponge continuing to expand on the other side of the planet. Always a good idea to just continue to expand. Max seems to have sort of stopped on the expansion here, and oh, sneaky, up on the North Pole, UnworthySponge building a staging point, a few vehicle factories there. They're going to go up slowly because of course no combat fab with him, but as soon as they do, Max is going to find himself having a war on multiple fronts, and you divide and conquer, as they say. Except I suspect UnworthySponge will probably be seeing this little bit of a force here and thinking, oh my, oh dear, oh my, that's not a good idea. Change those hotkeys. I thought I changed them, but apparently they don't save, which is really annoying. So you'll have those sounds whenever I click S for moving the camera around. There's a little bit of a hummingbird turn there, but lots of engagement here. It looks definitely as though UnworthySponge is going to be caught on the back foot here. Inferno's coming out, but I'm not sure why the Stingers are still being produced, but the combat fab there nicely keeping this defensive line alive. Really need to get rid of that. It's so annoying. All the commander coming out onto the front lines as well. Not the wisest. We've even got vehicle factories going up in the distance as well. Those will start to produce stuff, but this is where the big build power differences really come into their own. Do we see ants rolling off yet on the north? Yes, we do. We have the first one approaching at the moment, so Max will probably be able to mobilize these grenadiers to deal with that, or indeed the odd bumblebee that's still roaming around in that massive pocket of air units. The commander's stuck way out in the open here. I should probably say this was a grudge match insofar as these players were trash talking like nobody's business just before this game, hence the 1v1. That's not the best war there, I must admit, Mr. Sponge. Commander now down onto 20% health and decreasing rapidly. I think this might be GG here and now. Indeed it will be. A couple more shots fired and kaboom. If there are multiple games following this up, I will definitely be changing my hotkeys because I'm fed up with that noise. It's just, no. Anyway, that was that. So this game goes to Max. Thanks again for watching, folks. Do drop any feedback you have below in the comments, because as I keep sort of saying, you know, half of my enjoyment comes from actually making the content, the other half from knowing that you guys enjoy it. So thanks again for watching. Don't forget there's more PA on the way very, very soon indeed. And as always, have a nice day.